The Gulf Coast wine scene and award-winning food entrepreneur.
I know a lot of you wondering what to do with your moon pies, so I've got some wine suggestions for you. Lemon moon pies, Chenin Blanc, or Pinot Grigio.
Stuart Reb Donald, acclaimed food and travel writer and world-class chef.
I was chef de casserole. I made the casseroles in the frozen food department.
For more than a decade, they've combined their expertise to answer your questions and introduce you to the culinary movers and shakers you want or ought to know. Four-time Taste Award finalists, 12-time Nephew Award losers. They are a dynamic duo of dining.
People screaming for more.
Mike and Stu on FM Talk 106.5.
Why? We were drinking wine. Why? We drinking wine.
Hey, good morning. Pass that dang bottle. Wine Spooley. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Sip and Chew Show. And Mike Steele on a beautiful Sunday morning.
Yes, it is.
After a stormy night. I didn't even hear it.
I don't know. It was all sunshine in Auburn, so that's all.
There you go. That was the,
I didn't take long on that, did he?
He did.
Well, that was the biggest game in college basketball this year.
Yeah.
And it was the two state schools.
Yeah.
I mean, this
First
is
time, wasn't it?
this is a big talking point.
I mean, at that position and everything, number one and number two schools.
Yeah, that's the first time the
In
SEC
the same
ever
state,
had.
in the same conference.
Yeah. It's the first time the SEC's ever had number one versus number two in the regular season.
Really?
You can understand Kentucky being number one or number two a lot,
Mhm.
but it's always been Kentucky and the 11 Dwarfs, for the longest time.
Yeah.
Well, now Kentucky is, Kentucky's in the SEC too, right? Because it's such a good conference now.
Yeah.
This year's SEC basketball conference is so far, we're a month away from the tournament, the strongest conference in basketball history.
Well, you look at the top five, four of them are in the top five.
Yeah.
My Florida's number 3, so I'm not complaining.
Yeah.
And that's the only loss Auburn's had this year.
Yeah, in the conference. Yeah. Our only other one was to Duke at their place.
Yeah.
By 6.
Ta-da!
Yeah. And that was also the last time Duke played a team ranked in the top 25.
Really?
December 3rd. Yeah, the ACC is traditionally the greatest conference in basketball history. But currently, they're pure garbage. Duke is a top 5 team, no doubt about it. But the rest of that conference is really bad. And somebody circulated a list of all the Hall of Fame coaches that have retired from the ACC in the last 3 years. It makes sense.
That makes a difference.
Yeah,
right there.
I mean, they've lost like 7 coaches in the last 3 years that were Hall of Fame
Well,
caliber.
my question is, during the Alabama-Auburn game, how many pretzels were sold?
I don't know. Do they sell pretzels there? I'll tell you this.
Be a pretzel state.
I used to go to
We're twisted.
the Mystics game. When I worked at the Russian exhibit,
Mm-hmm.
we'd get admission for free. The best thing in the world is to get that hot, soft pretzel
Mm-hmm.
and a cold beer and take a bite of that pretzel, chew it a little bit, and then pour in the beer with it and just feel that pretzel grow inside.
Really?
Yeah, the carbonation inside the beer hits the dough and it makes it all expand. It's just the best thing about a hockey game.
Mustard or no mustard on pretzels?
Beer?
Yeah.
But yeah, if I don't have the beer, then mustard.
When I used to go to Chicago and for wine events, they'd have food vendors set up at the convention, and I always seeked out the pretzels and just
Huge.
Yeah.
I mean, just enormous.
Yeah, and then of course mustard. I put mustard on it for sure.
And football games are known for tailgating food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But your other sports, basketball and baseball, are pretty much concession stand.
Yeah, that's what I was
Nachos, the pretzels, like you're talking about. But I'll tell you,
Wings.
probably the best hot dogs I've ever had in my life were at a Vanderbilt football game. Because it's Vanderbilt. It wasn't just a wiener in there. It was genuine German knockwurst. It really was. It was knockwurst in the bun.
Mm-hmm.
And I had never had that before. And the guy, when he finally got up to where we were, I said, how much are they? He says, $2 a piece. And I handed him 10, and I said, I'll take 5.
Wow.
He said, well, I've only got 4 left. And I looked at my buddy. I said, you didn't want one, did you? He goes, yeah, I'd like one. I said, well, 3 will do. No mustard. He was out of mustard packets. He had nothing. So it was just the sausage and the bun. One of the best hot dogs I've ever had. It was because it was that knockwurst.
Better than Costco?
Yeah. I don't know that I had a Costco hot dog.
Chicago. You get a Chicago dog now.
Yeah, I do enjoy. I don't want a Chicago dog every time I want a dog, but I do like the Chicago style with the sport pepper and the tomato, the celery salt. The relish is so green it glows in the dark. If it doesn't glow in the dark, they don't care how it tastes. It's got to glow in the dark.
Yeah.
Poppy seed bun. It is quite an adventure. Love a Chicago
Polish sausage, you know, is
yeah.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
one of the best things
at that
about being from the
convention
Midwest.
At that convention in Chicago, they had that too. You know, they had knockwurst and bratwurst, and then they had you know, they had breakfast items in the morning, and they just really took care of the audience to feed them so they wouldn't leave. You know, 'cause you're going to be taking in a lot of wine.
Yeah.
And light beverages like that. Now, when I went to France, to Bordeaux, that convention center was a mile long, and it was full of wine. But they had vendors from the U.S. in there too. They had a steakhouse from Texas outside in a tent, and people were getting, you know, big old ribeyes and all that. And so they brought food from America to make sure those who weren't familiar with eating snails and
escargot.
Yeah, you know, goose liver, which is pate, you know, for wine, and they, you know, says you got a hot dog
with foie gras on it.
Yeah, there you go.
There used to be a place in Chicago. It may still be open. I don't know.
Adam's Ribs.
No, that's from MASH. Yeah.
I like
Yeah. Called Hot Doug's. And
Hot Doug's?
Yeah, it's a guy named Doug that owned it, but his menu of hot dogs was beyond. They had the Chicago style with the Vienna sausage.
Yeah.
The Vienna hot dog is what is traditional in Chicago.
Not the little weenies,
Yeah, but it's 100% kosher beef. Essentially, it's a Nathan's hot dog made in Chicago.
Yeah.
Delicious. But he had that, and then he had all kinds of like a lamb hot dog, which would be merguez sausage from North Africa, and he had knockwurst and brockwurst and all kinds of just crazy stuff. Like
when you said that was in Chicago?
Yeah, I seem to have heard that it closed down like a few years ago, but it was huge.
Cleveland. When I went to Cleveland a few years ago, my cousin took me. First place we went to after he picked me up at the airport was that hot dog place that Drew Carey would bring
Cleveland
bags. Yeah, Cleveland. He would bring bags of those hot dogs to, you know, and pass them out to the employees at the place he worked at on that show, on the Drew Carey.
I'm trying to remember,
They have Hot Doug's.
Yeah, Hot Doug's.
Yeah, the sausage superstore.
Sounds like Mike's got a place right there.
Mercy.
Yeah.
Lord have mercy.
Refresh my memory. When you were in Cleveland, did you or did you not go to a Michael Simon restaurant?
I don't remember. It was so. We were there 5 days.
Lolita.
I mean,
those are two.
We weren't, you know, going to any nice restaurants. We were going to fun places, and everybody in the family could feel comfortable in, and so we didn't really do any fine upscale.
No fancy stuff.
No fancy stuff. Oh. And but
Hot Steve was breakdancing for a minute.
You know, we just.
I'm excited. You know, it closed October 3rd of 2014.
Okay.
So, but it was the self-proclaimed sausage superstore and encased meat emporium. So you can tell, especially when you're in the Midwest, think about the history, you know, Wisconsin and meat.
Oh, absolutely.
There was some fine eating up in that area.
Well, yeah, and I think it still holds true that the largest cattle auction in the world is in Chicago.
Yeah.
Second, Kansas City. That's part of the reason why the ribs and beef and all that. But yeah, Chicago was definitely a main.
251-343-0106. Mike, what the heck is that?
That is the call in or text in line. We'd love to hear from you.
Midnight confessions. Whiskey therapy sessions.
Andy McDonald's birthday was yesterday, so I'll bring that up and then I'm going
to buy some time. Need to stay glass beyond lines while the bartender listens. Dalton Orwig here with Desi Tobias, the local law firm Tobias and Comer Law. Another edition
Yeah, I
of
wonder how
Law
much,
251. It's a glorious time of year. Mardi
popcorn
Gras, we all have a lot of fun, but you also got to make sure you're staying safe out there.
Mardi Gras is a lot of fun. It's a great thing for our community, but as we know, things can happen.
Now,
As a driver,
there is this
pedestrians
elderly
out there in the
couple sitting
roadway,
behind
people at the
their Alabama
parades
fans
also
that are
are
looking at
aware
her
that there are
with
people out there that can get hurt. Also, the alcohol-related issues.
They
If
get
you're downtown
very
having a good
upset with
time,
her
be
and
careful
her
about how you get home. Call a cab.
I'm
or
sure
call
they
a
are.
driver.
And there's a reason they have those barricades out there, right?
There is, and we hope that there are a lot of people down there having fun, but it's very dangerous to get in the parade route and all of the various vehicles that are in there.
And I know on your website,
I remember
TobiasComerLaw.com, you have a
somebody
full list of Mardi Gras
a
tips
fan
and
of
also more
another school was
information on
commenting about
Tobias
it.
and Comer Law.
That
But
they
you
got
also
a
have a phone
jacket
number for a
that's
consultation
no, it's
24/7.
He's got a $15 gift card to Taco Casa.
That's Desi Tobias with Tobias and Comer
Fifty
Law
for
and
free
Law
appetizer,
251.
green
No representation is made that legal services performed are greater than the quality of legal services of others.
Tune in to Retire Right Radio with Paul Roberts. Let's make sure that no matter how old and wise you grow in life, that you don't grow old and broke. Paul is the president and chief wealth advisor with Roberts Wealth Management. These are some of the largest life-changing decisions you'll ever make in your lifetime. I want to make as many memories from 62 to 82 as I can. Tune in to Retire Right Radio with Paul Roberts, Saturdays at 3 p.m. right here on FM Talk 106.5.
Hello, I'm Scott Armstrong with Kimco Metal Buildings. If you want a sustainable and cost-effective solution for your building needs, we've got you covered. Kimco has been designing and constructing commercial quality steel buildings since 1965. We will meet or exceed high wind load structural requirements and help with the building process from planning to completion. We're located in Daphne. Check out our website at kimcobuildings.com or call us at 626-0594. That's KEMKO.
For more than 50 years, Mobile Bay Magazine has showcased the history, style, arts, dining, and entertainment that defines excellence on both sides of Mobile Bay. Each month's issue is filled with our unique Southern Alabama culture, beautifully captured and told through engaging articles and stunning photography. When you subscribe to Mobile Bay Magazine, you'll be swept into the pages where recipes, familiar places and faces, and untold stories abound. Start your journey today by visiting mobilebaymag.com. That's mobilebaymag.com.
Hello again, friends.
Yeah, that
I'm
was
Randy
what
Burton,
the
inviting you to join me,
Indians
Coach Ray
called
Cleveland,
their
and Coach
method
Mark
of
Lassiter
cooking,
for the Thompson
slow
Tractors
cooking
Principal
meat over
Report. We'll be
plenty of
coming to you
barbecue
live from the
Mexico.
Eastern Shore Toyota Hyundai
And
Studios
then
for 2
barbacoa
hours beginning at 8 a.m.
Mexican
every
food
Saturday morning.
refers
We'll
to,
visit with coaches, athletes,
smoked meat.
administrators, and more as we'll keep you up to date on all things prep
sometimes
along the Gulf
smoked
Coast
lamb.
and the state of
That goes
Alabama.
into a
Wake up
taco.
with the Prep Sports Report
And it's
team
delicious.
this Saturday morning starting at 8 a.m. right here on FM Talk 106.5.
To get on the line, call 343-0106. Now back to Mike Estee.
We are back with Sip and Chew with Mike and Stu on a beautiful Sunday morning. Mike's got a few things he wants to address here, but right now he's got this beautiful little Superman curl of hair on his forehead. You dadgum
My
hippie.
headphones won't.
Get a haircut in the job, you hippie.
My
What if
headphones
go
keep,
on Facebook.com, Sip and Chew.
they keep slipping off my head. But anywho, I don't. I guess maybe my head's getting smaller. Maybe I don't have the big head anymore.
I only know that.
Anyway, want to wish our buddy and fellow foodie and he's
And
a
a
food
fat man
writer.
that squeezes.
Yeah, he's a fat man to squeezy. I'm sure he has to squeeze through some things in life and has and still will have to. But our good friend Andy McDonald had a music store. So he's got Picker's Paradise over there. And he's a writer for the Lanyap. But happy birthday, Andy. I hope you had a great one. And I see that Phil and Foster have him as a guest Wednesday night, I believe, at Callahan's. So if you're out
fancy.
doing nothing, go by and listen to some picking and grinning that they'll be doing. That's a happy thing, birthdays, but we also have some sad news. A lot of you who have have gone to cottage and package store over the decades and years and decades. And there are other stores. They got stores on the East Shore. They got stores down at the beach. They sell liquor. They sell wine. They sell cigars. They're known for their cigars. And Mr. Ray Manis passed away, the matriarch and a proprietor of that.
And who Havana Ray's cigar shop is named after.
Yeah, Havana Ray's. He came from Cuba, married a beautiful woman from England, and they had just a great big,
American life.
Great big American family, and living the dream. And we've had Andrew and Michael Manis on the show before, and it was a fun interview. And I know they're all hurt and going to miss their dad. We're going to miss them. They were good to Brandon when Brandon used to work for him years ago, my son. So, Godspeed, Ray, and we pray for the family, and I don't know what the arrangements are going to be, but I know it's going to be crowded that day, and it's going to be sorely missed, and now the boys got to pick up and run it, and they have been running with it, but they've accumulated a great bunch of staff and employees, and people have been announcing on my Facebook page where I posted about and shared it, times they've worked for the Manises and just love the family. And Ray, just a wonderful person, and it's going to be dearly missed. Godspeed. Anyway, with that.
Well, I went on my hike last week out to Escatapa, and great new trail they've got. It's only 1.1 miles. It felt longer than that, and I think a lot of that may have been just because we just spent wintertime, especially with several days of snow sitting around the house just turning into pudding. But Luke and I were both tired after the 1.1 mile, but we also checked out their new playground. And son, this thing is killer.
A playground?
Yeah.
Where's this at?
This Escataba Hollow Campground.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a county-owned park.
Yeah.
Out, at the state line on Moffett Road.
Mm-hmm.
And they already had a 32 slab RV center out there. The beach, they've got all kinds of beach access, lots of picnic tables, covered picnic areas. Their cafe is getting very close to being remodeled, reopened. Supposed to come back in March, I think.
Okay.
Was the target date for opening it. It looked really good. But I'm telling you, man, that playground was cool.
Did you the teeter-totter? Did you get on the teeter-totter?
No, but when we came back from the hike, there were no kids on it. So I took Luke in, and it's all gated. So as soon as I got him in and closed the gate, I took him off the leash and just let him run around. He'd already taken care of his business, so that wasn't
outside of the.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a remarkable dog. He will not do his business anywhere that you might ever want to step. And that is because he won't do his business anywhere that he might want to ever step.
Yeah.
So he'll turn around and back it up under some shrubs and leave everything just nightly piled at the base of some shrubs or a plant or something.
This is where the cats like to hide.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it. So, but I let him climb up. Man, I'm telling you, this playground was cool, Mike. I wish we were younger, because it had 4 different slides to come out of it. One of them was a curlicue slide. It had a spider web that you could crawl across the top of, hanging from it. I mean, man, it was cool. It was a huge playground with lots of cool stuff on it. So when I got there, there were families there enjoying it.
Yeah.
Lots of kids out there, probably an after church crowd would be my guess. And then when we finished our hike, there was no one there. So I took Luke in and we played a little bit. I don't want him to get on too much stuff and slobber or anything like that. It just, we went up some steps and came back down, basically. I was trying to get him to go down a slide, but he wouldn't. And as we were leaving, a group of teenage kids was rolling in. They were going to go sit down roast some wieners on the beach and listen to some music.
Oh, cool.
So it was a great little park out there for those who didn't know it, that they have done a lot. And Chickasaw Park is supposed to be reopening in the spring with lots of improvements on it. Another great playground. The beach will not be open for another 2 years, I believe.
Yeah.
But the rest of the parks will have lots of hiking trails in it, kayak launch, rentals, stuff like that. I think it's going to have the swimming pool in it, which I guess works great when you can't use the beach.
Yeah.
But and then Bayfront Park is going to open this spring as well, reopen.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one on the DIP Causeway right before you go on to Dolphin Island on the left. It was just a little park there with like some swings and stuff in it. I haven't seen it because it's not open, but they have totally revamped it. It is huge with a big beach to take the kids on.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of berms to keep the waves from coming up and making it wash away. Big playground there. All kinds of improvements with it. So the county parks have really been doing some updates.
Well, that's great to see. And I remember as a kid growing up, the park was the thing, and everybody went to the park. And
when I was in college over in Mississippi, I was coming out of the fine arts building.
Mhm.
I've been practicing trombone and stuff. Had in case you didn't know, if you're a music major, half of your day is made up practicing various things, whether your solo work on your instrument, any ensembles that you're in, piano, because you're all required to take piano lessons for 2 years. Any others, I was a guitar minor. So I my regular school day was about 4 to 5 hours of practicing instruments in various ways. And I was coming out, and I mean, it was a toad strangler of a rainstorm, just pouring down. And the campus policy was security could not give lifts to students at the time. But this old security guard, Monroe, saw me coming out, and he said, I ain't going to make you walk in this, hop in. So we take the little drive up to our dormitory, and he goes, where are you from? And I said, Mobile, Alabama. Do you know at one point there were more parks in the city of Mobile than anywhere in America? And no, actually, I didn't know that. And I asked my dad about it. He said, yeah. He said, every neighborhood had a park. He said, and every park had a gang, and I was in my gang. And he said, but we weren't the gangs, with the switchblades and all of that.
Sort of like my gang.
Yeah, just, but they were high school age guys.
Yeah.
And Mobile still has a lot of great parks in the downtown area.
They do.
But it used to be like one every 10 blocks.
Well, I hate seeing, and like Charleston's got parks everywhere. I mean, I'm sure Charleston, but Savannah is just known for their parks and just beautiful fountains, and it was set up that way because of the Civil War. And now the parks are in places where they fought at, but Mobile has like the Monroe Park that down on the bay. It's all industry now, and there are no Mobile. What I get mad about with Mobile is they have blocked the access to the waterfront for people to take family.
They are fixing that out at Brooklyn now. Arlington Park has access to it.
Right.
And they're building a new park out there.
Yeah.
Near the airport that's going to have a beach and everything.
And they said, well, you got Cooper Riverside Park. Well, you got to risk your life to get to it with the interstate
and the train.
and I see now, I believe they started working on that thing they're going to build out on the waterfront. I just hate that we don't have, like in New Orleans, you can go picnic on the river front. And
I think that's coming to Arlington too. 251-343-0106. That's the good old sip and chew chat and text line.
There you go.
Almost dropped the Callahan on it. Callahan's what reminded.
You want one. A new
something
bicycles. Adventure Earth bicycles in Midtown. Airport, Florida. Adventure Earth bicycles. Everything inside.
So the main reason for parks bring up.
FM Talk 106.5.
People,
The Gulf Coast
why do
Weather
people get
Authority.
We talked about it with Danny
Danny
when she was on a couple of weeks ago. But I'd like to see one of the cook-offs throughout the Army. Got a big open green space, plenty of room for everybody, plenty of room for people to set up tents, and all of that stuff. Yeah, it would be a good one.
Well, I think
You
part of the problem with the
FM Talk 106.5. The Gulf Coast Weather Authority.
Whether you want trim, sharpness, grind, clean, polish, or
Got
sand,
so
a
over
variety of materials.
shadowed
Value
and dark,
fasteners offer best in class
didn't feel
bonded,
safe.
coated,
Well, I'll tell you too,
super abrasive products for industrial,
hurricane,
construction, automotive, and
Sally
do-it-yourself
did it.
application. Visit Value Fast in Sarah.
well,
Ed Rowan from Taylor Martino Rowan.
They
Back in
had
the studio, it's Mardi
concrete
Gras time.
sidewalks
Things are
poured all
festive,
the way
things
up
are
to
fun,
the
but yet
roots
people still
of
come
the
to your
trees.
office
When those
at the worst day of their
trees
life.
fell
So
back,
I
that
love
broke
Mardi
off the
Gras, and
ground.
I see
They were
the
rotten.
bad part of it too,
They were
but it can
rotten.
happen to anybody
And
that
I'd hate
doesn't
to
use
see,
good
I'd hate to
judgment.
see
Get a
those
ride.
big trees.
It's simple as that.
I know Bill
Have fun.
Finch,
Get a ride.
proponent of
They
this,
want to
but
get in touch with you at the firm. How do they do it?
the
Just
city,
Google my name,
when
Ed
there's a
Rowan,
new
or look us up
structure built,
online, Taylor
they
Martino Rowan.
require
No representation is made that legal services
almost
are greater
oak
than all
trees,
these legal
of
services
oak
of
trees
others.
planted. Well, what happens in 25, 30 years? The roots start pushing
Long
up the
before winter
sidewalks,
weather
cracking
approaches,
into the
the
buildings.
Alabama Department of Transportation prepares to maintain interstate and state roads that could be affected by snow and ice.
I just think it's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
we start training and doing maintenance on snow and ice equipment months in advance to make sure everything is ready for when the freezing weather comes. We will have crews working around the clock that are prepared to plow snow and remove trees that have fallen into the roadway. Our mission is to keep roadways safe and open. We try to achieve this by focusing on interstate routes first and then secondary roadways by traffic volume.
If the weather allows, we'll start pre-treating the roadways during the day to prepare for the temperature drop at night.
AlDOT wants to keep the public
Next
informed
weekend
during
is,
these winter weather events. The best way to learn about state road conditions is the Algo app and through local media. Brought to you by AlDOT, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
To get on the line, call 343-01. Now back to Mike and Stu.
Okay, welcome back. Hey, I see Roy is tuning in on Roy Seaward from Butch Cassidy is tuning in on the website here and our feed.
Could be on Facebook, could be on YouTube, folks. We're all over the dadkill.
We're out there smeared like good old Duke's mayonnaise on a sandwich.
On a mater sandwich.
That's it.
Got a text too. Remember the Royal Dog House downtown?
Oh yeah,
yep. The early '80s, best dogs ever.
Well, it's out on Airport Boulevard.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's out there at Regency Shopping Center.
Texting it. That
was Al.
When you guys are talking parks.
Well, it was the same one.
Oh, okay.
I believe.
Yeah, that's just
Al.
Al.
I don't remember, but Al was downtown.
Oh,
He was downtown until they moved the bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
And he got a lot of business from the bus stop when they moved it over by the Gym and O building. Then he moves out here because it took away a lot of his business.
My question on the parks, it takes a lot of maintenance. Okay, I think that's one of the biggest expenses for cities is how to do that, when not to do that. And we were talking off mic during the break about the not cathedral but Bienville. And there was so much reconstructed and rebuilt, really nice. But the thought there for the longest time was that dark. It just seemed that was kind of the one to stay away from park.
But you should have been here in the 80s.
But the parks were originally invented, even where I'm from, is a gathering place. We used to have huge family reunions and everything was centered around food. I mean, who brought what? And that was the whole point behind parks, is a gathering place.
Well, it's a gathering place. Bienville Square and Cathedral is a gathering place, but it's for the wrong people that are gathering.
Well, sometimes. Other times it's for everybody.
Well, it's for everybody, but you have to deal with a lot of unwanted elements in there of people
like this guy
begging for money and
stop doing that, Mike.
Sleeping on the benches and all that. I did see that for Mardi Gras. I haven't seen. I'm going to look at it tomorrow when I go by there, where they're putting erecting a fence around the areas they're trying to protect. They spent so much time, beautifying the park. They have put up a fence to some fencing of some sort to keep people off the grass and out of the flower beds and all that stuff that they spent so much time and money on.
Well, you know where Wet Willie's is,
Mm-hmm.
right there on the square. Well, that building is very old.
Yeah.
And in 1905, President Theodore Roosevelt addressed the citizens of Mobile from the second-story balcony of that building. From what I understand, my father had heard about it. Clearly, he wasn't born in 1905 to remember it, but he said that was where all dignitaries at the time who visited Mobile were going to address the people. It seems like the premier of India also addressed the citizens of Mobile from that balcony right there over Bienville Square, which is now Wet Willie's.
That building has a basement. It's not a big roof. Well, all the buildings that have a basement downtown, it's not a lot of headroom.
Well, Beer Garden's got a lot of headroom. What it doesn't have is a very wide staircase going down.
But
it is for Steve, who's never seen. The staircase is 18 inches wide.
Oh man!
With no handrail on the right hand side. That is not where I fell.
Yeah. But that building, I was told by an architect that building was built to be taller, and they built it, and they only went so high with it, but they had planned on making it taller. But it has the foundation to withstand a taller building there, and so but they never did add on to it.
Yeah, when the Dumbwaiter opened, which great restaurant, you and I went there after they opened right there on the square. Their original plan was to open where Wet Willie's was and to have a cigar bar on the second floor where they would use the dumbwaiter that was already in the building to send food from the kitchen up to there.
Smart.
But for whatever reason, the city told them if they wanted to do that, they'd have to put in a state-of-the-art sprinkler system. They went, well, okay. And they said, for every business attached to it. Well, no, they should get their own sprinkler system.
Yeah, right.
But they didn't require that of them when they took a space, 50 feet away on the same intersection.
Yeah, why would that be? Why would you? What
No
kind
idea.
of thinking behind?
Well, I remember when Panini Pete put in. When he put in, I think it was the first one there on Dolphin Street.
No, it was off Dolphin Street.
No, I'm talking about when he moved.
When he bought. Oh, you're talking when he moved it from the side over to there before he took
Dolphin.
Okay.
Yeah, we're squidding.
I'm caught up now, Mike.
The fire department required him to put a key box in.
Requires that of everybody.
To put your key in case there's a fire, and they can open the box and get the key and open the door. Why not just bust the window out? Why not just bust the door? They got those axes with a big pointed axe on it.
Well, that was Dumbwaiter that told us that story.
Wow.
That they didn't let them know that they needed that to get open for business until the day before they were ready to open for business. And there's only one company that made that box, and it was in California. It was $300 for the box, $350 to overnight it to you. It is essentially, it's a shakedown.
Well, I was about to say, because I can see some people complaining about if it's on fire, you're going to do the damage. Well, okay, which would you rather have, a timely issue and put the fire out quicker to stop the damage, or would you like?
What if somebody
when it told the box was going to be $650, the owner of the restaurant just said, just break the window. It's $150 to replace it.
It's just crazy.
And they said, well, we're just not going to let you open.
Oh my!
So there's some,
crazy laws.
Pete was sitting there telling me that story.
It's not a law.
Because he was pointing at it.
Law.
It's a policy.
He was pointing at it. He was mad about it.
Yeah.
He was mad.
Yeah, Pete had to get one too.
Yeah, and I just
because it cost him $650.
What if somebody forgot and left the key on the table back in the fire station?
And they just let him in, and they start firing. My question is on, we talk with Danny a lot, Calamity, and obviously with the parks that we're talking about and related to food, that's another reason why, chili cook-offs and things like that. It's why it's so important. Again, food is the central element of key. I wish we had just a few more elements like that in the city of Mobile more often.
Move them around to different parks too. Don't have everything at Cathedral, Mardi Gras, and Bienville Square.
Yeah, right now.
And like they have some events out at the grounds now.
Yeah.
And that's where the barbecue contest used to be when it was a really good barbecue contest that was important. It was one of the chief warm-up tournaments going into Memphis in May. And it was huge. And we got big names in. Myron Mixon,
was there, yeah.
Diva Q, and all they. And then for whatever reason, one year they said, let's move it to Mardi Gras Park. Okay, give it a try. That's cool. And we're going to have it the first weekend of May. You mean that the exact weekend that Memphis in May is going on? So then all they had was just like regular people that showed up to it to compete. There were no professionals in it.
Well, isn't there a lot that used to go on with the Admiral Sims as well in that general area as well, as far as food and
well, they had it on Royal Street one year, Kansas City barbecue cook-off. But Brad and them used to show up from Ocean Springs. They'd bring their big rig. And
you would have all of the big people in the Southeast anyway.
Big bar.
Although Danielle Diva Q, she was from Vancouver, Canada. She came all the way down here to compete in Memphis in the old Hog Wild Festival.
Hog Wild, that was
it. Yeah, I remember that.
But just like I said, for whatever reason, they decided to move it to the same weekend as Memphis in May, and that's the last time I remember them having it.
Now Foley has Barbecue and Blues Festival over there at their park, and beautiful park, beautiful downtown. Foley's just done a phenomenal job with their downtown, and it's a small, very small downtown, but it's kicking. I mean, I'm there every Wednesday, and it's like, wow, this is great.
Daphne Pier too, the pier in Vero. Oh man, that has undergone a lot of change.
Fairhope gets it. When it comes to stuff like that, those kind of amenities that communities want.
It adds to the quality of life. It adds to the quality of life of a city and a town. And Daphne's got a great, it's a pickleball and tennis court over here, but then they got a big shaded park here, and they have events out there, and they'll close the main street off and have stuff down Main Street, just like they do at Fairhope.
We just need to shut off all the AC and push people outside. That's what
I think, I think Fairhope really does the most bang up job of outdoor festivals.
A number of decades, I would assume, they decided to model themselves after Carmel, California, Carmel by the Sea, where I believe at one time Clint Eastwood was the mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
Very progressive city as far as amenities, community, things like that.
It's always been called Carmel by the Carmel by the Bay or something like that.
Yeah, but the city that it's modeled after is Carmel by the Sea, California. Or they just shortened it to Carmel.
Yeah.
Like it's Gulf Shores, but we go into the Gulf.
Not the ocean.
I was having a conversation with someone recently about Florida and how different, parks and their community is designed more community oriented, where people, like you said, there's park every 10 blocks or every 3 blocks.
That's going to be the large Hispanic influence on the culture down there. That is a very huge part. The people that I've met
I'm talking central, even in upper.
Well, that's going to be the redneck influence there. Yeah, the Panhandle is one thing, and then Florida's the rest of it.
Right. Well, you said
the Panhandle is just the southeastern
Georgia and Alabama.
Or Baldwin County. Exactly. It's all an extension of Baldwin County.
But you start hitting down, when you split there at 75, you go south Gainesville on down. That's when you start seeing Florida really start changing.
Yeah, Florida.
Yeah.
When it goes from being a landmass to a sandbar, because that's essentially what that whole that's an isthmus. Yeah. If you have a list, I'm sorry about that. That whole stretch of land down there is a giant sandbar.
Yeah. It's an island connected.
Yeah. But at one time, Cuba was connected to it too.
I've always wondered how they get the grass to grow. You gotta have a lot of topsoil on top of all that sand. Goodness.
But iguana droppings.
Oh, the roaches, dude. I'm telling you, these things. Being from Kansas, we have roaches. They're like an inch. But these dudes, you get 2 or 3, they take the car away.
Yeah.
Just huge.
Man, if I lived in Miami, I would love the rare freezing nights that they got. Just to go out and collect the iguanas after they fall out of the tree. Go ahead and have them head off, guts out, skin off, ready to go in the fryer.
Shoot.
A chicken of the tree.
I've never had it.
Have they got a iguana helper?
They have such an iguana problem down there.
Oh, I know.
They have lots of companies.
People get knocked out.
Frozen.
Everybody's ever stabbed their ex-husband with a frozen iguana.
Florida.
Like
man.
a squirrel.
If it's happened, Florida man or Florida woman. 251-343-0106. Give us a holler.
Wow.
Love to hear from you. I'll tell you what Roy said. He said he's going to Italy.
Why not?
Roy said he's going to
Italy.
Italy.
Mobile County Sheriff's Office.
okay.
Be safe this Mardi Gras season by staying outside.
Talk about what Roy
Having
sent me
a
on
plan for a lost
Messenger
child before arriving at the
Spain.
parade and always
Happy
be aware of
dogs
your
that you went through,
surroundings. Stay informed at mobilecountyeso.com.
Whatever
and on
Drew carried.
Facebook.
What can
Yeah.
only be
I
described
messaged
as
my
the most
friend. I was chatting
mysterious
with her this
procession of the
Cleveland
season,
this morning.
the
And I said,
Massacre Island
"Hey, the
Secret
Cleveland hot
Society
dog shop?"
street tableau
What?
rolls
Happy
tonight on
dogs?
Dolphin Island at 6:30.
Is that
The
the
torch-lit
security?
procession begins at the Indian shell mounds and ambles
She
through
showed
the
me a
old
picture
village
this morning.
district. The
Her
procession includes small wagon
starter or
floats
something went out in her
featuring
car,
the
and it'll be
Bull
3 weeks before
Shell
she can get it
Mounds, a
fixed. So
pirate
she was
ship,
walking
and
to the
Lover's
market.
Oak.
It's like
This
9
famous
inches of
oak tree
snow.
was a significant
And she
location
goes,
for
but it's
engagements
fallen.
and
And she goes,
marriages,
Christine.
and to leave a message for a loved one.
I think,
Pay close
you know,
attention
when
to
we're
the
talking about
letters
parks, I
tied
think the
within
other
the
thing
tree
that
on the
really
wagon. The
influences,
shell
you know,
mound float
such
includes a
parks.
central well
We're also
representing the
part of the
story of
transient
Isabella, who
movement,
stashed
you know, the
riches in the
cars.
well
We
before
started
returning to
doing
Havana
roadside
in
parks.
search of her husband, Hernando Soto. This legend of the high
Became,
seas
you
led
know,
to pirates searching the island for
kind of
decades
sketchy,
in
but
search of the treasure.
Also
be on the
I
lookout for the
remember a lot
Pelican
growing up.
Girls,
That's
a
we did a
60-foot
lot of
serpent
park
representing
meets
Beanville's Native
because we
American
did road trips.
tattoos, Joe Kane and
You
Skeleton
know, we
Massacres
would
representing
plan a
the
trip
Massacre
2 hours,
Island
and we okay,
namesake
this
given by the
recreation
Iberville.
park is going to be part of it. This part, you know, we stopped at the park. We wasn't going to a restaurant. You know, we just make food, put it in the cooler, and take it off.
Yeah.
Anyone with a smartphone, including your children.
Mom and I were talking like. Anyway,
Have the rest.
whatever, dude.
I don't watch the
More
game.
than 50 years, Mobile Bay Magazine has showcased the history and style.
Anyway,
and entertainment that defines
you know, that was the thing. Mom and I, she drove mail truck
Each month's issue is
for a
filled
while
with
between
unique
Santa Rosa, Colorado, and
beautifully
Foley.
captured
And
told through
we
engaging
would have egg
articles
salad
and stunning
sandwiches.
photography.
You know,
When you
she'd make
subscribe to
egg
Mobile
salad,
Bay
and we
Magazine,
put
you'll
even
be
mint
swept into
pickles
the
for
pages,
bread and butter
recipes,
pickles in there to
familiar
change up the
places,
sandwich.
untold
Oh man, that
stories
was good.
abound.
But
Start your journey today
we would stop
by
at park.
visiting
You know,
mobilebaymag.com.
roadside park.
That's
Absolutely.
mobilebaymag.com.
People don't do that.
Feels free
Us, when we go on vacation,
In
we
addition to
always have
starting Mardi
sandwiches
Gras,
stuff
the French
ready to
established
stop at a
Mobile
park.
is a port city. Today, the Port of
And the
Mobile
only
is an
last
international
depiction
gateway
I've ever
serving all
seen of
67
that
counties in
in a
Alabama,
movie or
importing
anything
and exporting
was
goods
American
globally and
Vacation.
impacting
Yeah.
over 1 in
Yeah.
7
We don't
jobs
stop. We don't.
They had dog piss on the side.
Now we have convenience stores like Circle K or whatever.
Easy to see why
Fast food
the
joints.
Alabama Port Authority is the second fastest
You
growing
get
port
something
in the
that
United
really good.
States. Learn more on our website,
I mean,
alports.com.
kind of interesting, but at the same time, it's like,
Follow
I'm
FM
one of those
Talk
guys that's not
1065
get
by
on
searching
the car
Twitter
on
at
the
FM Talk
try to get
1065. Feeding
it.
breaking
And then I
news,
can
weather,
enjoy
traffic,
maybe
and
relax
opinion.
stuff.
Plus, you reply. Find
You
us
know,
at twitter.com at FM Talk
how many tickets have I
1065.
paid to get to that?
Mike Bailey,
Talk about
Stuart
Roy,
Red
huh?
Donald, devoted to the complete gastronomic experience.
I want a big butter and egg mash.
Mike and Stu on FM Talk 1065.
So this morning, the first person to send me a message this morning was Roy over there at Butch Cassidy's. And he sent me this video of Rick Steve. You know who Rick Steve is? He's a travel guy on
Yeah,
the
great show. Great show.
Oh, I love that show. But he was in Spain, and there was a street or something that had all these little tapas bars everywhere. And you walk in, you don't even sit down. You just walk up to this counter, and there's plates of all different types of foods. And you just point at what you want, and they load your food up, and then they pour you a beverage, and you pay for what you eat, and then they specialize in a certain style. And then you walk down the road, and you go to another place, and same thing. You just say, give me one of those, give me one of those, I'll take one of these. And you stand there eating it. And
while you drink your glass of sherry.
that or some type of beverage, so sparkling water or beer or whatever.
Sherry is huge in Spain.
Yeah, probably some cava too. Yeah. And so my headphones won't stay on. So is my head on my shoulders? I can't see it. I can't see it. Oh, there it is.
I don't know, but you used to have a neck, didn't you?
So anyway, it was quite interesting, and I thought, wow, this is great. I love this. I could go for something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe we need some of that downtown Mobile.
I've always wondered. I watch a lot of Rick's traveling through Europe, and their main downtown is a marketplace more than
in Europe. Yeah.
And here all we have is it's market, but it's more shop. It's not street vendors out and showing you what they have. You have to go in and I think
it gets stinking hot down here, Steve.
Well, like in southern France, it gets hot. In Spain, southern Spain and France, it ges hot too.
Exactly.
But they have all the little piazzas, and you go in and
it's called shade.
And Mobile does, that like downtown, they use Cathedral Square, which I think they want to make sure it's Mardi Gras Park, but there's no shade. And they try to move the market they have on Saturdays over there, but everybody was burning up. They were dying of the no shade and stuff. At Cathedral, you got shade, but it's it's a great place. You got the church bells ringing, the fountain during the summer. They got the fountain going for the kids, and they got music. That's wonderful. See, I love to see stuff like that, and I just walk around and look. I'm a people watcher anyway, so. But
maybe
it's very entertaining, isn't it?
Maybe Barcelona should be your next European trip. I believe it is the cheapest place to fly into Europe. Is Barcelona.
Becky's brother was a missionary in Spain for 18 years, and we kept saying we'll be there next year. We'll be there next year, and then 18 years later, we never made it. Yeah, because we was going to be there next year. It never happened.
It was about 10 or 15 years ago that Spain surpassed France and Italy as the culinary epicenter of Europe. Ireland eclipsed them for a while too. You know what has hurt France the most? The introduction of the supermarket.
Yeah.
They don't go to the bakery anymore.
Right.
Like they used to. They don't go to the produce stand. They go to the supermarket.
Now,
like we do.
I went to
a couple
decrease in
the quality of food.
I went to a couple of supermarkets, and we got in the door before they closed it for afternoon, and then they reopened it at 5 or 6, and that was silly. But like their fish, you go over there to the fish market, and you got the islands but all the fish are laying out on ice, and the floors are terracotta, whatever, tile floors, and they got little ditches with drains, where the ice melts, and then they come in and wash everything off, and then they put new stuff out when they reopen for the evening. But I thought that was weird. And the Home Depot, their version of Home Depot closed at 2:00 and reopened later on.
Be needing something.
Yeah.
Well, I would argue it.
In Spain, it would be because they're taking a nap.
Well, same thing in France.
Oh, they nap.
Yeah, and Argentina and Chile. Argentina and Chile too. They close up, and you like what?
I was just going to say, I would argue that the introduction of convenience, it's not just American. It's hurt everyone.
I mean, convenience is a drug. It is a narcotic.
Yeah, it's an issue where slow down, just enjoy the food and have good food, have a quality food.
Hey, here's a thought: cook it yourself.
Hey, there you go.
Well, I remember some of the gas stations, petrol stations. I'm sorry, they had the best little desserts and stuff that you'd get. And these things weren't made at a factory like Little Debbie's and all. These were made locally, and they sold them in the petrol station. You go, wow, the quality of these.
Well, that was the original Stuckey's what I grew up on. Every individual Stuckey's, it may have been a chain, but they were owned individually. And these people put their work into it. And you could go to a Stuckey's 10 miles down the road, it'd be different than the other Stuckey's. As far as food and quality and service, just. I get it. It's convenience and money trying to make, a consistent dollar. I get all that, but there's a lot in that.
Yeah,
a whole lot. Yeah. On the flip side of the little market system, I would also be fascinated to visit supermarkets in Asia, where there's so much technology going on. And everything's robot. Just for the flip side of it, to see the wonder of it. Just anything done on a grand scale is something to behold.
Their system is, we used to have those in the 50s where I can't remember what you call them, but basically you had all the food in the little windows and you could just, what are those called?
Mats. It ends with mat, like laundromat.
Right. Food mat or whatever. You would just go in and put 50 cents in, get your thing out, and then they replace it in
like
there.
a vending machine.
Yeah. And they have those
if you've seen
that are vending
the
machines,
series
but it's
Loki,
fresh food in Asia. It's interesting.
If you've seen the Marvel series Loki, they have one in the break room of the TVA.
Yeah.
But all it has in it's key lime pie.
Right.
I think a lot of it because the Board of Health in our country, well, you got to wrap it with this, and
that's true.
And
the rules, just like we were talking about with the stupid dumbwaiter thing. What's
you got to list all the ingredients and UPC codes. Anyway, takes the fun out of it.
Well, and the quality. I think the quality is the biggest thing. You get a carrot cake.
The only way to achieve consistency is to lower quality.
Really?
You can't guarantee peak quality because, maybe it's a bad year that year for rain and the tomatoes aren't as plump and juicy.
Good point.
So anytime and that's one of the things that bugs me. People, when I go eat at a restaurant, if I eat at their chain in another city, I want it to be exactly the same. Well, I don't. I don't want
Where's the fun in it?
The food in Kansas City to taste just like the food in St. Petersburg.
Yeah, that's fun.
Why am I leaving St. Petersburg?
That's why I'd rather eat at a locally owned restaurant so I can taste their culture, their terroir and all that. I want to taste that.
But that's one of the big things with me with the chain restaurants is they want that consistency, and the only way to guarantee it is to go with lower quality. Because you can always guarantee low quality stuff. You can always get crap.
Yeah.
And that's why that consistency.
I'm a big tiramisu fan, and I can tell you there is a difference in
Well,
tiramisu.
it depends on if you make it with sponge cake or with ladyfingers.
Exactly.
Either one of them is acceptable, but it's a totally different texture. I am not a huge fan. It's not that I don't like the taste. It's just like I don't want a dessert that's going to make me hungrier because it's just like chomping on air.
Well, that's the whole idea, is to eat the full meal and then you just top it off with it, basically.
But see, I like in some places like a buffet. I'll eat the dessert first.
Mike, get us out of here.
Folks, get out there, support local, be local, buy local. Go to a park. Go buy some food from a local restaurant and go to a park with your family.
You know what is perfect for eating at a park?
What's that?
Provolone.
Down on Mobile Bay, stars are bright and shining, and my heart is climbing to all the fountain. My sweetheart,
bye, y'all. Man, I saw the most